Galio someone to jump in on, so we are in that situation that I'm not a fan of personally, where you have to utilize the Galio ultimate almost exclusively as a defensive option. And because there is, a lot of kind of low commitment poke here from the Zoe, from the Jhin, even from the Lilia, just kind of throwing out those swirl seeds, there's the ability for JDG to try to be non-committal in these fights and try to poke you out, try to draw out something like that Galio ultimate. But I will say high-value ultimates, because you're pretty much solely relying on Galio taunt to set you up for those bullet times, because there's not really any other lockdown, right? You have Graves and Gangplank. You don't really have anything for that kind of point-and-click stun, lock them down, shoot them up with the ultimate. But we are into game number 1. Should be a banger. I'm really excited for this series.
Who needs CC when you got the Call of Duty duo, bro? A shotgun and a grenade launcher with Ben and SOFM put together. Give them the noob tube.
Even got the airstrike with the Galio.
Oh, yeah, everybody's in there. We got everything
call him down. Galio just launches in.
Easy money. But one thing I do want to look at here and draw attention to as we're looking at Keystones and sort of just setting the stage is I wanted to see this from Angel as we were loading in, like based on what you were talking about with the Galio. He has Predator to just run up there and follow up on some sort of an engage from the rest of the team, from the Bard ulti. Helping him close the distance, be there, be ready to go. Because there's no real offensive ally on his team to ult to, he's got to have a different way into the fight, and I like the rune choice here.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. And when you are alongside a champion like Graves, Graves can just show up mid lane, help you push it out. If the Galio is roaming, Graves can catch waves, scale effectively into the later stages. He really does like being that farm-hungry style. So alongside Predator, makes a lot of sense. You can cover for each other in mid lane and look to enable this Galio to get out on the map to make things happen here. Fits very well, with that sort of rune choice. We can also see SOFM going towards Fleet Footwork. Makes farming even more healthy on the Graves, not really an issue for the most part. But we have been seeing it more on Graves. Some people are starting to pick it up into these range versus range jungle matchups where the Fleet isn't going to reduce as much damage. You go towards, rather the phase rush. You go towards the Fleet instead of that, and just be able to heal through some of this damage if you are actually meeting up with Kanavi and fighting out against that Lilia.
Yeah, it makes sense in those sort of situations. Just keep the health bar topped off and have something that you can use more easily. Now, one thing I do want to discuss here a little bit is just because I know it's Worlds, not everybody follows every region, so it's important to sort of take stock of the histories between the teams when they do come from the same league. Last night, we got to see Damwon versus DRX, which is a matchup that was actually a repeat from their playoffs that had the same result as that matchup. That's not technically a spoiler because I didn't tell you what the result is, so you can't get mad at me if you didn't watch that series already. But yeah, in this matchup, this one hasn't been played for a while, Mr. Azael, because these two teams were on the opposite sides of the bracket in summer. So their last match was in the regular season in week 2.
Yep.
That is 8 patches ago. And anybody out there who's played League of Legends, which I'm assuming is most of you, knows that 8 patches is a lot of difference in the game. Things exactly aren't going to look the same thing now as they did then, but back then, 8 patches ago, Suning lost 0-2 in that best-of-3 matchup. So that's the last we got to see of these teams. It has been a hot minute since they've gone head-to-head.
Yeah, they haven't played a lot, right? They played once in summer, once in spring. JDG won in spring as well. That was a 2-1, so they have had the edge. And just as far as overall regional success, JDG has been the much more powerful team. Suning didn't do much of anything in spring while JDG was winning the championship. So we'll see as this engage happens down bot lane.
Yeah, nice engage from Luma. A little bit of follow-up there from Loken. Takes a lot of the health away from Huanfeng, but look at that. We've got so much hot cocoa just ready and waiting. Heal on up. It's like a little baby version of the fountain. As Kanavi shows up down here, moving towards the enemy Krugs, but SOFM is doing what SOFM does. The desk was talking about it, man. Krug camp is the most important objective on the map, and SOFM just got it stolen away. Kanavi had the smite ready to go, but now, there is your follow-up, there is your damage. SOFM with the flash to get underneath the tier 2 turret and keep himself alive, but I'm loving this aggressive play from JDG.
Yeah, both teams really getting aggressive, but the problem here is going to be the wave, because my guess is that Suning's wave is pushing away from them. We'll see what JDG does want to do. But you're kind of being zoned off. A lot of those minions don't have access to them right now. We saw that Yagao was threatening a roam down. Angel has moved to try to protect SOFM. They know they can't allow Kanavi on this Lilia to just be bullying him out of his jungle. So does want to keep him in a fairly comfortable spot. Top side, looks like it's mostly just been a bit of a farm fest here. Bin, though, in a pretty comfortable spot. He hasn't been pushed back to lane early. He started that Sapphire Crystal on that Gangplank, so it means he's going to be able to get the Sheen buy, and that really is critical for the 1v1. Pretty much any time on Gangplank you can get Sheen on your first buy, you're happy. That is always what you're going to be going towards because it has such incredible synergy with your Q. That plus the grass proc all at once allows for some pretty awesome harass in this 1v1 lane.
Yagao knows that the enemy Graves is on that Gromp, recognizes that SOFM is there, but just sets down a ward. He knows that he's not going to be worried about face checking the Graves, doesn't also have the ability to go in and invade him, so... Ooh, I like this creativity here. He won't be able to find an opportunity to make a play with it, but just Hex flashing over the wall, taking use of that extra minor rune there. Lumao in the enemy jungle will be setting down some vision here. I like the control warding that we're seeing coming out from JDG. They're up in gold by 600 with no kills on the board, which means they're building these advantages just by having stronger lanes, just by securing more farm, which means those lanes should have priority. And when you have priority across multiple lanes, I love seeing aggressive warding to try to take advantage of that and be able to invade the jungle.
Exactly, and that's actually the second time that Lumao has warded over there. He used his trinket earlier on, now goes back to base, invests his pink ward there. This is trying to avoid some of what Vedius talked about of Kanavi getting behind early, and that's kind of what happened in both of the JDG losses. So they are trying to avoid that. They are trying to keep their superstar jungler in a comfortable position here. Both top laners having used their teleport, but it does seem like despite a lot of skirmishes, it is a more reserved game. We'll see if JDG can make a play here now, as they are roaming 3 people towards that mid lane, but you can see Sword Art moving up through the jungle, Graves over by that Raptor camp, so Suning is ready to respond if anything does break out.
Yeah, both these teams had pretty strong showings in their groups. Remember that it was Suning, despite the fact that Suning is the LPL 3rd seed and JDG is the 2nd, it was Suning who ended up taking first in the group. Both teams only had 2 losses in their groups, but at 2 losses, Suning was in a spot to have a tiebreaker with G2 for that first place spot. The tiebreaker went the way of Suning, so they took first. JDG, unfortunately, was in the group with Dom1, who was a cut above and finished 5-1, so no chance for a tiebreaker there. But both these teams have shown they've got what it takes, man. Both of them have had some pretty impressive games here so far. Kanavi continuing to just steal away whatever he can here with this Lilia, maintain that pressure. Both these junglers, man, the world's meta for jungling is being able to clear this stuff fast.
Exactly. I mean, it's been so much about lanes enabling junglers instead of kind of the more traditional route, which has been the opposite for a lot of years. It's often about junglers sacrificing their farm, junglers, being able to stand in brushes and protect laners pushing things in. Now, in this meta, it feels so much more about your lanes pushing so that they can support the jungler on invades. You can take away Raptors, you can take away Krugs, you can get advantages through that gold. And then when you do meet up at these Rift Herald fights, at these Dragon fights, it's your jungler who is that stronger member, who is level 6 when you have these level 4 or 5 supports roaming up to try to contest, and you can make a much bigger impact as a result.
And looking towards that bottom lane, you're talking about supports. I'm going to switch to 80 carries here for a second. Serrated Dirk on Loken's Jhin. So we will see lethality, at least here at the start of this matchup. He does have fleet footwork. Sometimes you do see different runes. You can see something like a Comet on a lethality Jhin sometimes in the past. But fleet footwork, of course, always giving him the ability to just go fast, be that Jhin that everybody loves to be, running around 400 miles per hour. Rift Herald is taken by JDG. As the Gangplank ulti comes down, initiation goes through, Lumao going in, Galio ulti shows up, and now here comes your counterattack. Lumao into the stasis, keeping himself alive. Kanavi tries to get in there, but Leona's running away. Into the mix goes the Renekton, but now he's going to be juggled around in the middle of 4. It's a 1-for-1 so far. SOFM is taken down, the firing range opens up. Here's your curtain call, baby. Bin goes into bin, and Loken grabs the kill. It's 2-1, JDG.
Nicely done for JDG. They come up huge there. Suning roamed all the way up, but they were way late on this play at the Rift Herald. It was pretty much already done from JDG, so not only do they grab the Rift Herald for themselves, they get 2 kills to 1, and Kanavi is heading straight over to the Dragon here. Suning losing out big time. They could have just stayed bot, honestly, pushed the wave, probably taken a plate, taken additional farm. Instead, they try to contest. They are not able to pull it off, and JDG with a pretty significant lead off of that as they will grab both the neutral objectives.
Feels good for JDG picking up this Drake for themselves. Mountain on the board. And when it comes to the 3 neutral objectives in the game, Dragons, Barons, Heralds, we'll talk about it after a second, but the Axe replay needs to be addressed because this is how JDG made this lead happen.
Yep, Kanavi over on that side, kind of zoning multiple members. Bin gets collapsed on. We see the Galio ultimate used defensively over to that side. Sword Art able to land a nice binding over onto Loken, but Kanavi finding SOFM, flashing on top of him with the Q, puts him to sleep. They knock him down, and then despite the good use of that magical portal to retreat over the wall, they were already so low. And by use of that magical portal, you're lining yourself up for the Jhin, the ultimate, able to grab that second kill of the fight for JDG. And we'll see how much bigger they can make this lead when they drop that Herald, because we have the Runic Echoes already completed for Kanavi. That is going to be such a boost in his farming speed. He is already up 24 CS over SOFM, plus taking both the neutral objectives and still having that Herald in his pocket to grab some more gold. So they're going to have to try to look for an opportunity, and they need to track Sword Art, because if you just drop it and you don't know where the Bard is, Bard can actually deny the destruction of those plates utilizing his ultimate. So they want to get eyes on him and then drop it immediately across map from him. So we'll see if JDG is going to be able to do that.
Graves just there, hit level 7 with his most recent kill on the Gromp. So SOFM at least a full level behind Kanavi. I'm not aware of how far Kanavi's experience bar is, but at minimum, you can't be any lower than just hitting the level. So the Lilia having that very nice early lead here. Loken continuing to pressure in the bottom lane with Lumao right next to him. Huanfeng will just keep farming up underneath. They will still keep that first turret plate intact here, but SOFM's in the bottom side.
Yep, SOFM, trying to look around, trying to anticipate where Kanavi may show up in order to potentially defend against this, but Angel gets tagged and he's gonna be slept up.
Angel is asleep, walks away from the trouble bubble, but the follow-up CC comes down. Say hello to Lumao. Kanavi's gonna pick up the kill.
Nicely done. Lumao with the flash from long range to land the ultimate there onto Angel, locking him down, taking him down, and zoom up on this top side. He is honestly slamming Bin so far in this game. He has just been straight up farming way better, pressuring Bin off of that, never getting whittled down in this case. You see Sword Art is up here trying to match where Lilia could be, so they won't drop the Rift Herald just yet, but that is a 40 CS advantage. Yes, that will get closed a little bit, but Bin is getting slammed. It is not supposed to look like this. He has not died, sure, but he's losing turret damage. He's down massively in farm. The jungle advantage has been heavily in the favor of Kanavi. So JDG really in these early minutes looking a class above.
At least I'm not dead is not the most assuring thing to hear from one of your laners in a game of League of Legends, especially not in a game with this gravity to it. As the Rift Herald is summoned up in mid lane, Shelly will be making her charge. Sword Art's right there. This should be easily canceled.
Yeah, that's
all right,
a terrible
timing's
Rift
fine.
Herald. I'm disappointed. Shame on you, Kanavi. You've been playing a very good game, but come on, man. That one's not even trying. If you're just going to drop it like that, there was an earlier point where we saw Sword Art clearing a pink ward from JDG on the bot side of the map, and Kanavi was on the top side of the map. So if you don't have some sort of master plan on how to get the perfect Rift Herald, just drop it and get the guaranteed gold, because that did literally nothing, right?
Yeah, that was worthless.
You accomplished absolutely nothing with that. If anything, it's actually a negative play because you gave them the kill gold for the Rift Herald.
Gave him 25 gold. It's worth about a melee minion, but it's a melee minion you didn't already have.
You'll take that.
I mostly just enjoy the fact that you didn't even try to make it sound pretty. You just said that's troll. But let's see how the play happens down here. Galio engage comes through. Nicely done. Angel with the execution. Loken is gone. And Lumao, it's about time for Suning to get some revenge for all those roams. They tie this game up at 3-3.
Yeah, that is a huge TP for Angel. And you were talking before about how it never feels good to just be able to say, oh,
that never feels good either. Never feels good to say I had 80% of my health and now I don't.
I mean, now Angel could say, hey, only died once, killed the Rift Herald, and the TP'd bot lane. It's looking good. 2 kills over on the Huanfeng. They're able to take down some more here. Kanavi face-checking Bin. He could be in trouble.
Oh, that's real bad. Bambi wandered into the wrong jungle. Kanavi trying to get away here. Does survive. 200 HP. Sleep goes down. Bin getting himself away. Uses the barrel to make sure the enemy team can't chase this one any further. JDG was collapsing with 3, but they won't be able to find any more. Bin does lose half his HP there on the very back end. Zoom wandering around. Does not want to go for a dive.
I'm surprised he couldn't get in range for one last Q, because it did look like one more Triforce empowered Q would have actually killed off Kanavi. Couldn't quite get that last shot off to finish him there, so it just ends up being a trade of flashes and the ultimate down for Angel. So, despite a good setup and attempt for Bin, it actually ends up being a positive play, all things considered for JDG, because they do get that Galio ultimate down. And we do see JDG setting up for this dragon, looking towards the second. We know the first was a mountain, the second is a cloud. So it's going to be either, the Ocean Soul or that Infernal Soul. And those are the two that people are most willing to fight for. So it will be interesting to see if, as a result, Suning wants to contest here to try to keep JDG a little bit further away from that soul point.
And talking about a contest around a Drake, you're talking about the prospect of a pretty large fight, my friend. And when we're thinking about those possibilities, we have to look at what everybody's got locked and loaded. You can see that Trinity Force done for the Gangplank, like you already mentioned. Black Cleaver on Renekton. Zoe looking for a sleep there. Will not find that onto Sword Art. Bottom lane, it's Essence Reaver for Misfortune. Yumu's Ghostplate completed for Loken. So everybody's got those first items up and running. And it looks like Suning, they're not going to make any sort of a fight happen here anyway. That is the second of Drake going over uncontested. Ocean Soul will be the story this game.
So Ocean Soul, is always going to be really strong. You do have to mention that it's a little bit less strong when you don't have a true tank, because when you have that Ornn or Scion or Maokai, you can never consider one-shotting him and just kind of erasing the potential to regen here.
Right.
These champions still can be burst down, and that's why we're seeing lethality come out from the Jhin, lethality come out from the Graves. It's mostly squishy members. There's not going to be a lot of defensive stats purchased up, so it can be very effective. As far as Loken is concerned, he gets the extra move speed from the Fleet Footwork. He has the Swifty Boots. He has the active on the Ghost Blade, so a lot of ability to kite out and disengage just through straight up move speed when there is not that point and click CC, right? You can pop the Ghost Blade and maybe dodge out of a Bard ultimate. You can run away and kite out from a Galio taunt and these types of things. So he's going to be looking to do that. And we can see Huangfeng is doing the BF stacking MF style builds. Some of the MF one-tricks really do like just going pure BF items all the way down. You get tremendous amounts of flat AD, and it does make for extremely powerful ultimates. It's so much about the bullet time. But again, you're going to be depending on Galio to set you up for that. And Galio doesn't have a slam dunk target to ult in on and then taunt someone up off of. So a lot of pressure on Angel to find that setup for his AD, and not a lot of setup for him to get it done.
Angel does lose a good chunk of his HP there. Yagao doing a good job here on the Zoe, just always maintaining his lane priority, this pressure. Angel getting hit by another big paddle star means he's down to about 1/4 HP, but he's fine just going home, taking the reset here. It's what you mentioned at the very beginning. SOFM is perfectly fine swooping in to clean up a wave or two for Angel when he has to leave. Once again, Lumao's in the enemy jungle, setting up wards, throws the Zenith Blade over the wall just in case somebody was waiting around. But Huangfeng has found the enemy support, and Sword Art can just go on a magical journey through the wall there.
Yeah, and they force out the flash there from Lumao. So that's actually a pretty big deal. If you do end up scrapping around this Rift Herald or even the next Dragon fight, it won't be available for. So not having the flash for an engage on the Leona does significantly reduce the power here. I do think it's reasonable for Suning to just not contest at the Rift Herald, though. You have Bard for potential deny again on that Rift Herald, and you're not really set up for it. With the sleep landing on SOFM, they are going to be pushed back and can't really contest even if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But we do have to see them showing some respect up on that top side as Angel punches a tree and gets the worst of it.
Well, SOFM also had to use his ulti just to buffer the movement a little bit against the Zoe sleep, make sure he didn't get one shot there. Shelly going for the charge, and that's 0 for 2. Well done by Sword Art. JDG getting absolutely nothing for these Rift Heralds. There's another melee minion's worth of gold over to Suning. So Shelly and her sister Shelly really not doing a whole lot here today in game number 1. Currently, only 200 gold separates the two teams. It is a very minute lead for Suning Gaming, who have managed to secure themselves that very small edge just because of taking the turret there in the bottom side. It is 1 turret to 0 right now. Huangfeng in the top side will deliver this minion wave to the tier 1. However, they don't have enough information on where everybody on the enemy team is. He doesn't feel like it's safe to stay pushed up and try to put some damage onto that turret. Hex flash over the wall. I love how much we're seeing Lumao use this and how much confidence it's giving him to be in places he otherwise couldn't because he knows he has a way out.
Yeah, and I mean, he's always looking for these unique angles. This is something that Lumao does very, very well, is tries to attack you from angles that you are not necessarily expecting, using the Hex Flash to put him behind enemy lines and then wrap around behind your marksman player. Those types of plays can be pretty big. I do expect a huge fight to break out over this next Dragon, because I don't think that Suning are going to be willing to just give over a free soul point to JDG.
Not on Ocean.
Yeah, exactly. And for JDG, they have, I think, a lot of champions that are getting pretty damn strong right now, and I think they want to look to scrap. You don't want to just give this Gangplank free time in a side lane to just power farm the whole game long when you have Renekton. You want to try to force your advantages right now. The timing for cleanse will be pretty tight, but Huangfeng likely won't have it right on that dragon spawn, so there is potential to try to have a Renekton flash on the MF, try to burst him down with that cleanse off, but he picks up a QSS to try to deny any chance of that. So very respectful stuff from him, and I think it makes a lot of sense because there is a ton of dive, multiple sleeps that you talked about. There's the Leona stuns, there's Renekton stuns, there's the root from the Jhin, and if he gets caught, he's probably dead instantly.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you break that CC chain without having a cleanse or a QSS, right? It's not like they're just going to mess it up and, okay, cool, now you get to walk away. This is not solo queue. This is an entirely different ball game. And Suning now has 10 seconds before they've got to be ready to contest this Drake or give up the soul point. The previous 2 Drakes have been no contest from them. It has been JDG with complete control of the neutral game so far. 2 Heralds and 2 Drakes in their possession. Bin fires off a barrel, but won't get anything with it there.
And now SUNING actually has the gold lead. It's very slight, but they have been able to erase that early lead that JDG had. You know, they have been able to scale up on some of these champions, and they are looking potentially for a fight right now.
They got the CC down onto Kanavi. Solar Flare lands, but look at the damage onto the Lilia. Kanavi forced to run away as more comes through. Bard ulti's able to find it. Yagal's already down. Kanavi's gonna join him. Bullet time! Suning Gaming, they found 2. The 3rd is waiting in the brush on the back of the Drake pit. He gets himself away over the wall with the Hex Flash. That damn rune is doing so much work for Lumao this game. He has got to be sweating bullets, but his team lost big in that fight.
They're going to Baron. They're just going for it. 21 minutes in, they slam the team fight, and the immediate pings come onto Baron here. SOFM still has the smite available. They're looking to rush this down to force a response here from JDG. The TP is available on Yagao. He's up in 5.
Curtain call opened up. Sword Art going to be tanking those bullets here on the front at the start. Kanavi's back in the base. Sword Art down to half HP. TP's coming in. Zooms into the ulti. Baron at 2k HP. SOFM's coming in. He's going to be able to have to try to stop this. Ben's going to be taken down. Zoom is tearing Suning Gaming apart. He's looking for the kill, but he will be shut down. SOFM taking the kill now. Loken's in the middle of 4, and Loken is gone down. Huangfeng on a rampage. Suning, they manage to outplay. They go 2 for 1. They won't find the Baron, but they win another fight.
What a gutsy call there from Suning. I mean, that was close to actually being stolen potentially from Yagao because he had this Spellbook Smite. And if they didn't stop at as high of a health as they had, Yagao could have actually just come over the wall with his ultimate on Zoe and Paddle Star plus Smite and finish off the Baron. So here is that previous play. Sword Art over the wall. Beautiful binding from the Bard. You talked about those Bard mains being able to land it when it counts. Sword Art lands the binding to start. Kanavi flashes the way. No escaping from Sword Art. Nails the ultimate. Sets it up with the slow for Huangfeng to come in and knock him down. And this is the play I'm talking about. Suning intelligently pull off because they know that there is the potential of a steal. Look at this. If they kept hitting that, Yagao comes in, he just throws a Paddle Star straight at the Baron, and he actually hits the smite rate on it, steals it away. But because Yagao had no flash, he's over the wall. Bin gets in there, does so much damage, but there's not the follow-up. Jhin gets isolated, he gets focused down, Suning kiting it out, forcing out resources there from JDG, and they are now 2,000 gold ahead after a very successful last couple minutes.
MVB, bro. Most valuable Bard. Finding the stun over the wall. The follow-up with the ulti on a team that is so hard-pressed for initiation, where it is so difficult to get those angles. Sword Art makes it happen at one of the biggest possible moments. Sleep comes out. A little bit of damage coming through, but honestly not a lot, and Huangfeng is still feeling just fine.
You could recycle that one too, right? You've got MVB, most valuable Bin, most valuable Barrel, most valuable Bard.
We can use this joke all day long.
Yeah,
I promise you guys
good.
I won't run it into the ground.
Put that one in the bank. You can pay dividends later.
The most valuable bank? Okay, I'm done now. Anyway, Yagal's just clearing minions away up topside. Angel's still working on this tier 1 turret. Honestly, Suning hasn't gotten any more of those after that first one that they took in the bottom lane. JDG has been doing a good job defending these outer points here. You can see that they also picked up one of their own, also in bottom side, but bot lane tier 1 turret isn't exactly the most useful thing in the world 24 minutes in, so I don't think anybody's sweating a lot over the loss of those. Angel's here in the brush. Yagao walks up. The taunt is down. The follow-up with the Justice Punch. However, the Drowsy found SOFM as he moved forward to try to help his team. Now he's looking to get away. Now Lumao buying a little bit of time on the side with the solar flare. Angel through that portal. Curtain call opens up. 2 shots into the back of Sword Art. Make it 3, make it 4! Loken gets the kill.
Beautifully done. You got over the wall, softening up the bar enough so that 4th Jin bullet could come in, clean up the kill, and they're going to get a tower off this too, so a good counterpunch here from JDG. That went so much worse than I think Suning was expecting because of that initial sleep onto SOFM. No follow-up being there, for that Galio taunt meant that it really didn't result in anything instead of being potentially an insta-kill over onto that Zoe. So nice play here for JDG. They get the kill, they get both the cleanse and flash off MF, which is big because MF is becoming a problem. He is getting so strong. He went for this very expensive build, even pit stop for the luxury item of the QSS, and he is still ahead in itemization over Loken. He's got the IE, he's got the Essence Reaver, QSS already in, and you look up the top side, Bin is going for that trifecta of incredibly offensive and expensive items here, IE, Essence Reaver, Triforce, and he's almost done that. We have seen what this man can do when he lands that barrel, and he is going for that one-shot style build. You land one barrel on one of these squishy members, and it can be the end of the fight.
30 seconds, man. 30 seconds till that next Ocean Drake. Last time it was Suning that made the big play through Sword Art to win that fight. Lumao fishing here with the Zenith Blade. They're trying to find SOFM, but Deadly Flourish, Trouble Bubble, all of it's going to come up just a little bit short. Bin is off to the side here, has the barrel ready to go. Nice little bit of chunk damage onto Lumao and Kanavi both. Ulti ready to fire here. Suning without control over the pit. It's JDG with priority right now. Sleepy Trouble Puddle still on the ground, zoning Suning Gaming away. Zoom tanking the Ocean Drake right now. It's SOFM who dashed over the wall. He's waiting in the brush, he's waiting in the pit. Now he's drowsy. He could be in a real bad spot as the follow-up is coming through. They're able to get him into the stasis, keeping him alive. The Ocean Drake's gonna be taken low and secured by Kanavi. Lumao stuck in the pit. He should be dead here. That's 2 deaths on the side of JDG. Suning loses the Drake, but they're 5v3 on the map. The enemy team still has their jungler this time, but Suning is heading to the Baron.
This is going to be so hard to stop this Baron in the 5v3 at 27 minutes. They are very healthy. Kanavi does have Flash, but they have Angel, who can be in a position to try to zone him out, and they're going to start this up. Some incredible team fighting here from Suning, playing a lot of that fight over the wall, utilizing the MF ult, the GP ult, to be able to come through and chunk them out. And now Angel, he's caught up.
Angel running that interference, making sure that Yagao can't get as close to the pit as he wants to be, but now Bin's going to be tanking Yagao. He finds the kill into SOFM. The enemy jungler is down. This is huge for JDG. Kanavi manages to bait Angel into a bad spot. The stasis will not keep him alive, and Loken picks up the kill. JD Gaming just tears Suning apart, and now they're onto the Baron themselves.
Yeah, Suning really mismanaged that split calls, as half of them are trying to continue hitting this Baron, half of them are peeling off to fight, and they lose out in what was that 5v3 setup. Wangfeng almost has his ultimate, but not quite. JDG look like they can just finish this Baron.
Yagao going over the wall here with the Zoe. It was his snipe onto SOFM that guaranteed Suning couldn't stay here. Zoom is diving around and slashing him down. Zoom in a 1v2. He grabs the first. Can he get the second? The Baron goes over to JDG. Zoom's kill onto the Misfortune just makes it a party, man. Ben is also gone. Suning has completely lost control.
Oh my god, Bin almost took out multiple members of the pit too. Bin at the same time killed off Loken. Kanavi sneaks out with almost no health there, but JDG coming out massively ahead off of this last series of play. They lost out on the kills by that dragon, but they got the dragon, so they put themselves at this whole point, and you're thinking, all right, Suning, you are going to get the Baron here. But the split calls cost Suning so much as some of the members were peeling off. They get picked off, and then JDG go to this Baron. Look at Kanavi barely sneaking away here. And the missed ultimate from Bin. The move speed on Lilia can be so difficult to deal with at times. But JDG now, slight gold lead, soul point, and they have the run of the map here with that Baron buff. So Suning really cost themselves huge in that last Baron fight, and they're going to have to play almost a picture-perfect game from here on out, because I don't think they can afford to give up this next dragon.
Yeah.
And there's going to be 3 chances for JDG to steal one away.
Red Bull Baron on for the next 1 minute and 45 seconds. Drake spawns 30 seconds after that. You can see total champion damage this game. It is Bin's Gangplank, topping the charts with Ygal's Zoe coming in at a close second place. JDG, man, this is what I wanted from LPL versus LPL. I hope we get 5 games of this. Both teams have had such great high moments, from Sword Art's Bard, and then now into Ygal Zoe being able to find the pop on the enemy jungler in the Baron pit to stop what looked like a sure thing Baron. Both teams clearly showed up to play here today, and this has just honestly been 30 minutes of super fun to watch gameplay so far.
It really has, and it's still not over. I mean, JDG have the advantage here, but SUNING have all the pieces they need to still win team fights. When you look at the itemization over on the MF, he is closing on a full build here. Yes, he can still complete the QSS, upgrade that up into Mercurial. He can upgrade the Executioners, but he's really ready to go. The GP is on that massive 3-item spike, but SOFM caught out.
SOFM getting chain CC'd. Look at all of those stuns, making sure he's not able to get away.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Kanavi showing him exactly what Lilia can do with that movement speed, just kiting all over the place. And Angel cannot catch him. Meanwhile, Ben's in the bottom side doing that split push thing as JDG continues to push down the top lane. Kanavi is fine, just distracting. Sword Art and Angel are stuck in a 2v1. They cannot deal with the Lilia. Kanavi is making them look foolish as they try to find this. Kanavi continues kiting away. He's just fine. It doesn't even matter as JDG have moved all the way to the enemy Nexus. They take down a Nexus turret, and now they're getting out. Lilia is the world's greatest distraction.
But I mean, at the same time, Huangfeng as well as Bin were pushing mid and bot. They actually almost killed off Zoom in a 2v1. And if Zoom dies there, JDG might have lost double inhib, so this was actually insane. Skirmishes happening everywhere. The Lilia is delaying Angel and Sword Art. At the same time, Zoom barely surviving against Bin and Huangfeng, keeping his team alive as the rest of the members of their team take an inhibitor. And now on spawn, SUNING has first position here. They can just take this and then get out with the magical portal. So pretty crazy series of events. It looks really dicey for SUNING.
I love this.
That was close to just like being game over. But at the same time, at the end of the day, they pressured 2 inhibitor towers. They lost just the 1 inhib. They take the dragon off the reset, and the Baron is gone. So really, they didn't lose that much. And I actually like the counterpunch because had they executed a little bit better, and taken down Zoom, that could have been potentially like game-ending damage. If you lose 2 inhibs off that play, like that would be insane.
Oh my, what a game of League of Legends we got going on here. 5th item now completed on Huangfeng's Misfortune. You were talking about just how expensive this build is. Well, it's almost done. Once the QSS is completed into the Scimitar, he cannot go any further. Bard ulti comes through. Lumao's the only one getting caught. Angel's able to find the taunt, following that one up. Lumao incredibly tanky, using Eclipse plus Aftershock, keeping himself alive. Redemption goes down. SUNING cannot pursue. This is the problem with not having any follow-up engage, with not having more of those tools at your disposal. SUNING goes for it, but they can't quite make it happen. Kanavi trying to keep on throwing those swirl seeds, looking for anything he might be able to find. Drowsy down onto Bin. Gangplank getting himself away now. Curtain call opens up. 3rd shot hits. 4th shot hits. Lumao once again in some trouble, trying to run away, but Huangfeng's got the damage. Kanavi shows up, trying to provide some sort of an escape route, but it will not work. Swirl seeds, paddle stars, everything. Oh my, toss the kitchen sink in there, why don't you? SUNING still doesn't care. They get themselves back. It's a 1-for-0, and JDG loses their support.
Yeah, it looked like JDG were winning out in a lot of ways there, poking them down. And I'm not sure if that was a conscious decision from Lumao to just hold on to his flash, saying, all right, I'm dead, I want this for the next soul fight, or if he really just underestimated the crit damage that came through from MF, because he did go down very, very quickly. But you can see kind of the power of both sides, right? If you do actually catch someone and lock them down, you can kill them off pretty quickly here with SUNING's composition, but at the same time, they're so slippery. And all you really have is the Galio taunt. Lumao has a lot of tenacity here. He's got the Merc Treads. He may be going into, Legend tenacity in some of the other runes as well. I'm not sure exactly what he has spec'd into.
Unflinching in defense trees possibilities too.
Exactly. So, it's not going to last that long, right? And we can see that Huangfeng is going to have a hard time actually finding the correct ultimate because, there was times in that fight around mid lane where he would have wanted to go for the ultimate, but you have Kanavi on the side who can sit there, and if you start channeling it, you get tagged by a Swirl Seed, you can just get slept up, lose that that ultimate, potentially have it turned around on you. So you have to find your moment to really nail that ultimate here on MF, because so much of the power of their team fight is going to come from their AD carry.
SOFM needs to make sure he's playing very carefully on this Graves as well. We've seen JDG target him throughout this game. He does have 3 deaths so far, tied for the most on his team, and he doesn't have any luxury items. You mentioned the QSS for the MF and how she was able to stop off and buy that. Graves does not have that same good fortune.
He doesn't have cleanse either.
Yeah. If SOFM gets tagged, there is a Mikhail's Crucible from Sword Art that could liberate him from that CC chain, but that is all. If Sword Art is not nearby, SOFM is doomed, and he must be cognizant of that fact and be prepared to play around it. Lumao will once again eat a little bit of damage, a little bit of CC, but he does not care. SOFM trying to escape. Sword Art with the flash over the wall. Zoom, flash into the follow. Sword Art is in danger, and he is destroyed. Angel shows up with Con down, but Ben's coming around from the side. Lumao might be in a bad spot. Bullet time goes flying. Lumao still hobbling away, but it's a double kill for Yagao. The Zoe, the artillery, has arrived as Ben tries to run away, but Loken, the power of the Jin to slow him down. Ben won't be able to turn this one back. No, sir. Stasis only buys an extra second. The damage comes through. JDG finds a big win.
That is huge for JDG, getting both the solo laners and the support. This should be a Baron for them pretty much for sure. I can't see how Huangfeng and SOFM would get over there. You know, thankfully for Suning, at the very least, they should be back up on the map with both teleports available for the potential game-deciding soul fight, as JDG is at soul point here, but SOFM has moved over. I just don't see how you ever get in range to actually take it, so I just don't think it's even worth going for with soul on the table here in 30 seconds. He's got to make the call to give up the Baron, try to play towards the Dragon here. JDG with another big win off of that pick. You know, right as you talked about it, the Mikhails actually got used from Sword Art over onto SOFM to try to save him. And then it's Sword Art who has to flash over the wall, gets followed on by the Renekton, knocked down, and Angel is put in a spot where he can no longer escape either, because he's used the ultimate defensively on his support. Thankfully for Ben, he at the very least did kill off one member here, but getting knocked down, losing the stopwatch is very critical, and now we are on this potential soul point.
All right, it's Ocean Soul for JDG if they're able to find it. Big sleep coming through for JDG, but a good bullet time's going to scare them back away. Zoom is diving into the back line, looking to keep everybody else away, but Suning's right back into the pit. Lumao's going to be taken down. There goes the Drake. It is over to JDG. Kanavi secures it, and the Ocean Soul for his team. But now JDG has to get the hell out of town. Huanfeng's looking to chase, but Zoom is still fighting 1 versus 3 in the back line. SOFM will be shot down from a million miles away as the bullets keep pouring in, and Zoom refuses to die. The man is just spinning around in a circle like a gosh darn Beyblade, and he is tearing all of Suning Gaming apart. Zoom grabs the kill. The Ocean Soul does what the Ocean Soul was made to do, and JDG comes out on top.
Nicely done for JDG, and this could be the potential death push here. We'll see how long Suning can hold on. It is just Ben and Huangfeng right now. 10 seconds on Angel, 30 on Sword Art, 20 on SOFM. At the very least, they're going to lose multiple inhibitors here, but this could just be lights out. They only have the one Nexus turret remaining here.
That Ocean Soul secure was so big.
That decided the fight.
For Kanavi. It honestly was so incredibly important. It may have been what won the game. Sleep onto Ben. He gets away. You can't say the same for Huanfeng. Shutdown credit over to Loken. Ben will join him now, and JDG, they clean Suning Gaming up in the base. The Ocean Soul was the secret ingredient, Mr. Azael. Sword Art's back alive, but he's 1v5. It will not matter. Game 1 goes to JDG.
Back-to-back multi-man sleeps there from Kanavi, showing up huge in game number 1 here between Suning and JDG. That was an incredible